Welcome to Ron's Workbench. Hi everybody, I'm Ron. Welcome back to my workbench. In this episode, we're going to put the finishing touches on this little build that I've been doing of the Miracle Chair Company. We'll add some detail parts, we'll do a little bit of weathering, and when it's done, we're going to sit down and figure out where do I go from here. I have 3 models sitting in boxes waiting to be built, and we'll look at each one of them and figure out what's next. Okay, thank you and stay tuned. Okay, so if you remember in the video before the last one, I was talking when I was doing the roof, the shingled roof, I was talking about the sign and how you could actually see, if you looked up close, some of the fibers, stray fibers from the sign after it was cut out. So I said I was going to try something different to deal with that. And what I came up with was to use colored pencils. This is just a cheap cut set of colored pencils that I got, I think, at the dollar store, or maybe even Wally World. Not sure which one I got them at. But what I did was I took the black pencil, and anywhere that I saw some of those stray fibers, I took the black pencil and just working the fibers, I kind of pushed them over and then went over the top of them. So I'm pushing it back towards the sign very gently, and then using the black pencil to go over it. And then with my fingernail, I'm just getting rid of the fibers. So basically what I'm doing is I'm taking the pencil to push the fibers back over to the sign, and then using the tip of the pencil to pull the fibers away from the sign, and then just using my finger and my hand to brush those fibers off. Now, the next thing that I did to make the sign look even more like it's painted on, I took the white pencil and I went over the entire sign gently, even the black areas, to fade them out a little bit. And there you can see, I don't know if you can see this on this one, but just running it that way, I'm picking those fibers up, folding them back over the top, and then run over it again, the fibers with the pencil, and it seats those fibers down, or it makes a tiny, tiny little dust bunny, and then you can just clean it off with the tip of the pencil. Came upon this totally by accident. I was just sitting here thinking, how can I clean this sign up and make it even better? And I had bought the pencils to use for weathering, and figured, why not? Let's give it a shot and see how it does. Once I had all the, these fibers up, I then took the pencil and I went board by board for each one, and just run the pencil along the board, and it's pushing the sign even deeper into the clapboard, and it's fading it just a hair more to give it that painted look. Now, This is the way I do my painted signs. There's a whole slew of videos out there showing you how to use different techniques. What I have found is go ahead and teach yourself the technique. Watch some videos, read it in the magazines, and try the techniques out for yourself. And then choose the one that you feel the most comfortable with and use it and practice. The only way you're going to get better at building is to practice. And the other thing you should do, and I got this tip today while we were on Track Smack, and I thought it was an excellent tip. Throughout your model, take close-up pictures, and you can see the little areas that you need to improve on. Let's say this now, there are so many wonderful modelers out there, and you sit on YouTube and you watch their videos, or you read about them on the forums or on Facebook or in the model magazines. Do not get discouraged. Get inspired. Push your limits. Try something you haven't tried before. You'll be surprised at what you can do. Okay? Nobody is born with 100% talent. You learn the talents and you practice. And the other thing is, not everybody is an artist. I am not an artist. I'm just a regular schmo who decided, you know what, for 50 some years, I have been reading train magazines and looking at all the ads for the fine scale miniatures and looking at all the photos of the fantastic models that I've seen over the years. And I said, you know what? I've always wanted to try it. So I just buckled down, bought myself a very inexpensive kit, and learned. Now I want to give another shout out to Vinny over at BNSF 6951. Vinny was my inspiration to get back into actually building models. Vinny works in styrene, and he did on a series of his Friday night videos were Build Along with Vinny. And you can look in my playlist below and in my videos, you could see my first attempts at using styrene to build with. And I really have to give Vinny a lot of credit for inspiring me to get back into building models. And I want to give a shout out to my brother Andrew. My brother Andrew got me into the love of the hobby of model railroading. Now that we're both older and we are both empty nesters, it was time for us to get back into the hobby. And he is truly one of my inspirations. He was the one who instilled the love of Lehigh Valley and the Anthracite model railroading. I can remember the one time when we were kids, he took me for a walk. Andy's 10 years older than I am, and we went for a walk back along the yard tracks in Hazleton, Pennsylvania, the yard of the Lehigh Valley, and we were going to walk back towards the old roundhouse. Now the old roundhouse in Hazleton is now a super fun cleanup site because I guess it was in the early 60s or maybe late 50s, beryllium company came in and they were refining beryllium and machining beryllium for the space industry. And we really shouldn't have been walking where we were, but I can still remember just walking the tracks and thinking to myself how awesome this was. And there were many times that I would walk in the summers. I'd walk downtown, and I'd be fortunate enough to be standing at one of the railroad crossings in town, and to see a Lehigh Valley train come through with anywhere from 2 to 3 of the SW pups and SW, I guess they were 1200 or 1200s or 1500s, would come through town. And it was just so cool to be standing there trackside watching these trains go past. And what was really cool was in the area where I grew up, the Lehigh Valley used to run the Jade Green caboose. And I'd always see that, and being very, very young, seeing the Jade Green and Penn Central, had come into fruition when I guess I was, 63, so 5 years old. I would also see the Pensy go through town. So that was pretty cool growing up. But enough of that. Let's get back to building the models. So again, I just figured something out, tried it, looks pretty good. And next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna move on to installing the metal castings that came with the kit. There are 3 building details that came. 2, like I said earlier, were these exhaust vents. And what I did was, and I'll show it to you now, I took some various pictures of the vents in slightly different areas. See where it would look best with spacing and position, okay? And then the other detail that came with the kit is this dust collector. Now, I did a search on the internet for rusty dust collectors, and I came up with this picture. So I used the photos that I found. Again, always use as a photo reference when you're painting or detailing or building or doing scenery. And instead of relying on your remembrance of a certain time or place, a visual reference will keep you focused on doing exactly what you want to do. So we'll position the dust collector here on the roof. The sign comes purposely with an area for the dust collector to sit. So that area is that location, is pretty well already determined by the kit manufacturer. Okay. Now, one of the things I wanted to talk about, and I am not knocking bar mills at all, when you buy a metal casting, sometimes your castings are perfect, sometimes they have slight imperfections in them. Now this one actually has a flat spot on the bend, and there was a small piece of casting that did not fill in during the pour, and instead of bitching and moaning, as it were, I just used that to my advantage. So, as Vinny told me, adapt and overcome. You screw something up, just go in and change it. Or better yet, take something that you screwed up, work on it, and turn it into a gem. Okay, so next thing we'll do is we'll attach these, and you know, I don't know what to say right now. You know, sometimes this happens when you're shooting a video. So I'm going to leave this in. But what I want to do is next we'll go ahead and we'll attach the metal detail parts, and then we'll come back and we'll see where we're going from there. Okay? One thing that I did not mention earlier was, although I purchased shingles and the sheet metal paper to do the roof, the kit does come with peel and stick tar paper roofing, complete with detailed nail holes. Now, along with the exhaust ducts and the dust collector, the kit also comes with some white metal chair castings. So this is the final portion of the build. The kit comes with a laser cut loading dock. To do this, I just simply gave it a wash with just some black acrylic and some water, and I think it came out very nice. Okay, so before I do the reveal, let's talk a little bit about the kit. The kit is under $30, and it's a very basic kit. Doesn't come with a lot of frills. Does have those nice metal castings though. And if you spend a little extra money, you can add the extra details like I did with the roof, and you can turn it into something that, you know, is more than basic. Okay, so now that I have all the details painted and all the assembly complete, let's take a look at how it turned out. So now that this kit is done, what's Ron gonna put on his workbench next? So I've got 3 kits to choose from. First one is Dan & Feeds by Railroad Kits. I won this on HO Scale Customs podcast. The second one is Casey's Workshops, the Franklin and South Manchester inspired Shack Pack, which is brand new and I just got in the mail. And the third one is by Motrec Models. It is the Valley Hardware and Plumbing Supply. So what one do I pick? So I'm gonna start the Motrec Models Valley Hardware and Plumbing Supply. And the reason I'm choosing this model to build next is the last 2 builds were small buildings. This is a larger building, and I have some plans with this building to turn it into a pretty neat building. I'm doing this because there is a contest currently going on over at the HO Scale Customs podcasts for their Patreon members. And there are some rules to the building, and it has to be done, and judging will be at the end of October. So this will put a little bit of pressure on me, and I want to see how I can do with meeting a deadline and doing a build, and also trying some few other techniques that I've been trying to polish up on, and we'll see how it goes. So I want to thank everybody who joined along in this build. I really appreciate it. I
am so overwhelmed by the support that I've been getting for this show. I'm just very humbled. There's some people in the industry that have said some very, very nice things to me, and just the beauty of the hobby is the friendship and the encouragement that we give to one another. And just want to say thank you again. And if this is the first time you're watching one of my videos, please subscribe. If you like the videos that you're seeing, please give it a thumbs up. Share it with your friends on other social media. Give it a thumbs up. And please, any and all comments are welcome. Just send me a note down in the comment section below this video. I try to answer all of them. So I just want to say thank you once again, and we'll see you at the next Ron's Workbench, episode 13, when we're going to start the Motrac Models Valley Hardware and Lumber. We'll see you then. On the next episode of Ron's Workbench, break out the pipe wrenches, people, because we're going to be building the Valley Hardware and Plumbing Supply by Motrac Models. Next week on Ron's Workbench.